We are talking Audi TT MK1 or 8N like in Germany, and it's all about the draining hoses or draining tubes that you can see here that start here and gather the water that goes into the rain gutter from the roof, guide them through the chassis and out here into the rear wheel housing. Problem is that these tubes are made of a very cheap thin plastic. I believe Audi has also thought about that a little bit because they didn't want to have any sound traveling up these tubes into the passenger room. But long story short, these tubes are broken with every Audi TT first model that is out there because they did not last longer than, I would say, 15 years probably. And today I'm going to show you how to change these things without removing the inner rear covers behind the seats, because these clips tend to break off and people are afraid to do that. I've done one side, I did my learning, and now I share with you how this thing works. So first of all, I'm going to take a standard full copper household wire that you would put in the wall, and the length would be something like the car, and you will be using that as a pulling wire, and I'll show you soon how that works. So you see here that I cut everything except one single line in there, and now I'm going to pull away the insulation on one half of the cable. Okay. So here we have now something like this, and you will use a spoke nut from a bike, and we will be putting it here on the tip with some tape. So let me bring you in a little closer here. So what's the plan? This is the tube that comes out, and as you can see, this thing is broken, and it feels in this case already like it is detached from above, which is a pity because I was trying to use the thin first part here and to guide it through. But I'll show you how you manage that. And the starting point is somewhere up here inside there. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, we need some light in there. Down there inside of these all this stuff here, we will be starting to feed in with the small part, then pull out the tube. That was the plan, and then pull through the bigger wire here. Let's see how that goes. So the wire goes in, and you can see hopefully down in there is a cross. There's also a cable going there we go. There's a cross preventing things from falling in, and I used one of the rear quadrants, let's say, that the cross is forming, and wire in there, because the bend of the tube later on that we will be fitting in needs to guide and needs to ride on the cable, and it's good if it does that in the inner area of the radius or the bend that the tube will later on form. So let's see if we see the cable coming out at the bottom. I don't think so, because it already looked like the tube is loose, so we will have to tangle it out a little bit, but that's also possible. Now this is the tube, and as you see, it is always broken because there's also a spring inside, and I don't really understand. And interesting, there are some remains of foam, and I guess that is, yeah, that's the inner part was covered with foam, and that is for sound reason. What I will be doing, I will be putting something in here until here, some foam from a swimming pool filter to prevent any noise. The other tube I did is already noisy, and I have to do this. Unfortunately, the upper rubber connector is still sitting in the car, and if I remove it, it will be falling down into this piece here, and the only way we can get it out is through here. You have two openings, one here where the tube came and another one here where you can peep in with a flashlight and see what's going on in there. And I already took my tool to first fiddle out the cable through here, and then when the rubber connector has been fallen down, we will also try to grab it with this thing. I think it's possible. They cost about €3, and it's worth buying one before you go into this repair. So it looks pretty good because I grabbed it here, guided it more to the front, and now I have already seen the cable. There it is. There you see the cable down there. Now I can grab it with some pliers and pull it out, and then we have the connection re-established. And the nice thing is, once you have the cable in there and you get the upper rubber off, it will slide down and you can pull it out at the bottom here. So there you go. It would have been easier with the tube in, probably, but now we can just pull the cable through like this and have a stronger guide for the tube to ride on later on. The nice thing is that it is stiff enough to at the end provide the necessary guidance, and the 8mm cable just is about to fit through there. Now it's time to get the upper rubber sealing off the flange that's inside the chassis. And how I did this also last time, I took a piece of aluminum like this, and then I went into the hole just by feel, because you can feel actually when you're poking into the rubber, and then used it as a lever to pull it down. And this is what I will be doing. So now it's about cleaning this rubber here. They are usually in good condition, you don't have to worry about that. I tend to use disc cleaner because it usually dissolves most of the glue, but it is not affecting usually other plastic or the rubber or something like that. It is not as powerful as other solvents, but at the same time it's gentle to the surfaces of certain little vulnerable material. So here's some stuff now for the tubing. I'm using 20mm inner diameter tube with that is a food grade suction tube, a fairly thick wall with an with something inside the wall to give it some stiffness. The length will be 60.5 centimeters, and we will be cutting that. For these two rubber things, they need to be clean, especially inside here, because they will fit on the tube like made for it, and we will be gluing them on, and inside they need to be clean. I even used my fingernails because I had to get this gunk out there, but the disc brake cleaner did a pretty good job with that, and usually they are in good shape. You can even read the part number. I don't know, you can on the other one, you could, but they are usually fine. You don't need new ones. So once you got your tubing cut to length, make sure that it is as straight as possible here. I use some rough sandpaper and just scratch the surface for better adhesion with the PVC glue. I'm using Tangit PVC glue, but you can use any PVC glue, I guess. I don't know if it will bond to the rubber, but I think it is a good measure to do that, to be sure that this thing won't come off in the time I will be using the car. Rubbers here, it's all done. The surface is rough. What you want to do with the upper one, you don't push it in all the way. There's a small groove in there, but you leave some 5 millimeters space in between the tube and this inner groove here, because otherwise you will have a hard time for this thing to ride up all the way on the flange inside the car. Okay, you will think that it sits in there just very shy, and this is why after it is dried I will also put some tape around the outer side to also prevent it from slipping off. Here with this downer one, you can just push it in all the way. There's a hard stop inside the rubber that will actually help you find the right position here inside the tube. Okay, I'm using this this strong teaser Scotch tape to assure that these things don't fall off. And there you have it. Don't put too much around, because you will have a hard time getting it through the hole in the chassis. But ready to go back in the car. Just another trick that I used last time. Just a piece of wood, 8 millimeter hole drilled in. Just a clamp, you don't need a fancy one like this. And if the tube is in there like this, and you start pulling on the cable here through the hole, peeping through the upper hole here, you should already see the flange, or the rubber part right under the flange where it should slip on. I did not use detergent or any sort of soap to make it more slippery, because I found it to slip on easier but also slip off easier when I was fiddling around. So I will try to go dry here. And the plan is to pull hard on the cable here, which you can actually do, and you can even wrap it around your hand and just give it a tight pull, and then again observe from the hole down in here what's going on, and hopefully the thing will slip on. So what I found very helpful is to do it exactly in this way with the cable, and you would be kneeling in front of the car. With one hand you're holding the flashlight and you're looking into the chassis and watch the tubing, and with the other hand you reach up here for the cable, and then you go down here and peep in and just fiddle around with it and see how well it slides on, and this way you get it aligned and pulled on the flange within 5 minutes. So now with the tubing back in, it is all fine. I just used some protective wax around the thing that also helped it to slide in. Final thing to do is to prevent some noise, and I just cut out a piece from this swimming pool filter, €4, and I will now fiddle it into the end of this pipe, and I will hope that the noises these wow 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 noises that I already had from the other side will vanish. I guess it will also be better once the rear wheelhouse cover will be installed, but let's see. And that should be it. Repair done. Close this hole and put everything back together.